Welcome to MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic. In this video, we're going to discuss a way to build the core of a commander deck around Tor Wauki the Younger as its general. Thank you for choosing MTG Burgeoning for your Magic the Gathering content. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and consider becoming a subscriber. Doing so supports the channel and makes you eligible for our various subscriber rewards series. If you would like to support the channel further, then click the link to our Patreon page in the description below. There, you can join our ongoing Pack Wars series as a 1-month supporter or ongoing member. Or try joining Pack Wars for free by commenting on every MTG Burgeoning video in a month. We strive to offer creative rewards through our various Patreon tiers. So if Pack Wars isn't for you, then something else will be. Links to our content and various subscriber rewards series can be found in the description below. Send us an email, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. We are your channel for all things magic. Tor Wauki the Younger is a 3/3 human archer with reach and lifelink for 3 in Rakdos colors. Tor is the first Rakdos creature in Magic's history to have reach and just the second to have lifelink. If another source we control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +1 to that permanent or player instead. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell, Tor Wauki the Younger deals 2 damage to any target. The vision for the core of this build will revolve around our general's non-combat damage abilities and ways to enhance them. This core will be inundated with powerful Rakdos spells for the purposes of bringing this vision to life, with a focus on spells and effects that inflict non-combat damage to each opponent, as well as creatures our opponents control. We begin the core of this build with Delayed Blast Fireball. If we cast it for its mana value of 1 and 2 red, then it deals 2 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. If Tor is on our side of the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to each opponent and each creature they control through Tor's first ability, and then Tor deals 2 points of damage to any target through his second ability. It can be better. Delayed Blast Fireball has Foretell, so during our turn, we can pay 2 generic mana and exile it face down. We can cast it on a later turn by paying 4 and 2 red. If we cast Delayed Blast Fireball for its Foretell cost, then it deals 5 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. If Tor is on our side of the battlefield, it deals 6 damage to each opponent and each creature they control through Tor's first ability, and then Tor deals 2 points of damage to any target through Tor's second ability. Already you can see how the core of this build will be sculpted. With Tor on our side of the battlefield, we will cast a plethora of painful spells and punish our opponent's life totals and their creatures. Let's continue with Spiteful Repossession. This sorcery punishes our opponents for ramping, and Tor punishes them further. As a bonus, we are rewarded with treasure tokens. Breath of Malfegor deals 5 damage to each opponent at instant speed. With Tor, it's 6 damage and an extra 2 damage to any target. Sizzle will deal 3 damage to each opponent at sorcery speed. With Tor, it's 4 damage and an extra 2 damage to any target. You're getting the idea here. Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or when a creature card leaves our graveyard. Tor adds 1 point of damage to each opponent. Tunneling Geopede deals 1 damage to each opponent whenever we partake in one of the fundamental aspects of playing Magic the Gathering, putting lands onto the battlefield. Tor punishes them further. Gutter Snipe turns each instant and sorcery spell we cast into 3 points of damage for each opponent with Tor on our side of the battlefield. Siphon Soul deals 2 damage to each opponent, and we gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. Tor makes this life draining even better. Vicious Rumors deals 1 damage to each opponent, forces each opponent to discard a card, they mill the top card of their libraries, and we gain 1 life. all for just 1 black mana, and as a common. Of course, Tor makes it even better. Cataract Parasite deals 2 damage to an opponent whenever they draw a card with Tor under our control. Underworld Dreams does the same in this scenario. With Kervik the Merciless, whenever an opponent casts a spell, he deals damage equal to the spell's mana value to any target. And of course, Tor adds 1 more point. We're in Rakdos colors, which means, at times, we may feel some of the pain that we want our opponents to feel. That's just how Rakdos rolls. Although we may feel some pain, our opponents will feel more. Wail of the Nim deals 1 damage to each creature and each player at instant speed, but it deals more to our opponents and their creatures if Tor is on our side of the battlefield. For the same amount of mana, Volcanic Fallout deals 2 damage to each creature and each player, and the spell cannot be countered. Slagstorm provides the option of dealing 3 damage to each player or 3 damage to each creature. Chandra's Ignition deals damage equal to the power of target creature we control to each other creature and each opponent. Targeting Thor with this powerful sorcery will leave our general in play, deal at least 4 damage to everything else, and Tor deals an extra 2 damage to any target. Acidic Soil deals 1 damage to each player for each land they control. Since we're in Rakdos colors, it seems unlikely that we will take the most damage from this spell, even without Tor's presence on our side of the battlefield. Spear Spewer taps to deal 1 point of damage to each player. Tor shifts the balance of this damage dealt into our favor. So far, there is a trend secondary to the mana values of each spell represented in the core of this EDH build. They all have odd mana values. This was done on purpose, as it allows us to further enhance our non-combat damage theme by including OBOSH the PREYPIERCER as a companion. Since our starting deck will only contain cards with odd mana values and lands, OBOSH begins the game as our companion in the companion zone next to Tor. Anytime we could cast a sorcery, we can pay 3 generic mana and put our companion into our hand. OBOSH is a 3/5 Hellion Horror for 3 and any combination of 2 Rakdos-colored mana. If a source we control with an odd mana value would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. That's right, the damage dealt by every spell and effect that we have discussed in this video so far is doubled with OBOSH under our control. With OBOSH, whenever Tor is triggered by non-combat damage, the 1 additional damage becomes 2, and whenever Tor is triggered by our instant or sorcery spells, he deals 4 damage to any target instead of 2. When these 2 Rakdos stalwarts are paired together, casting Lightning Bolt deals 8 damage to any target, and then Thor deals 4 damage to any target as well. That's 12 total damage for 1 red mana. Chain Lightning does the same. I sense that the opponent would not copy and target us with Chain Lightning for fear of them getting another 12 points of direct damage, this time for 2 red mana. Although, this dynamic leaves the door open for politicking at the EDH table. Targets for Lava Spike are limited to players or planeswalkers, but still deals 12 total damage. Shock deals 6 damage to any target while Tor does 4. So will Play with Fire, with the bonus of scrying 1 if we target a player. Galvanic Blast does the same, but provides the possibility of dealing 10 damage through its Metalcraft ability instead of scrying. Since we're talking about doubling damage, let's get a little risky. Dictate of the Twin Gods doubles any damage dealt to a permanent or player. Yes, this could hurt us, but it will hurt our opponents so much more. Let's complete the core of this build by optimizing and enhancing our non-combat damage theme. Brash Taunter has a fight ability, and whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. It also can't be destroyed because it's indestructible, which means we can use its fight ability over and over and over again. Dracuseth, Maw of Flames, could sling a total of 13 direct damage across 3 different targets whenever it attacks, and Tor is on our side of the battlefield. Invoke Calamity provides flexibility in casting instant and sorcery spells from either our hand or the graveyard. Whenever it attacks, Backdraft Hellkite gives instant and sorcery cards in our graveyard flashback until end of turn. Protecting Tor is important, and Darksteel Plate gives our general Indestructible, which prevents any self-inflicted damage from our own spells. Hexproof strengthens our protection, and by including Swiftfoot Boots and Champion's Helm, we prevent our opponents from targeting Tor with any spot removal spells. As a bonus, each equip cost is only 1 generic mana. Lastly, if our suite of instant and sorcery spells seems low, then we can turn to Dragon's Approach. For 2 and 1 red mana, it deals 3 damage to each opponent. However, a deck can have any number of cards named Dragon's Approach, and when we cast this spell, we may exile it and 4 cards named Dragon's Approach from our graveyard. If we do, then we search our library for a dragon creature card and put it onto the battlefield. There are valuable dragons in the core of this build, and including multiple copies of Dragon's Approach provides another preoccupation for our opponents. This video provided a blueprint for building the core of a commander deck around Tor Wauki the Younger as its general. Removal spells, ramp, and the land base can vary from build to build, and also are dependent on metagame preferences and availability. The cards discussed during this video are suggested options for taking advantage of Tor's non-combat damage abilities, in addition to providing ways to optimize this theme. Let me know your thoughts about these recommendations in the comment section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic.